Hey there, QuakeCon. It's so great to have you with us for our Fallout 76 panel. I'm Nate Valenta, Senior Community Manager for Fallout 76.
And I'm Devin McCarthy, Associate Community Manager. As you can tell, we're a little separated by distance right now, but that seems pretty on brand for Fallout 76.
That's right. The beauty of Fallout 76 is that we can explore the wasteland together, even when we're apart. And that's exactly what we're going to do today as we explore how Fallout 76 continues to evolve.
We'll be getting into a ton of details on our new Fallout Worlds initiative, but before we get into that, let's talk about some of the big changes to Fallout 76 in recent years.
Joining us today from the development team to share their insights are Bo Buchanan, our Fallout Worlds lead.
Hi.
And Mark Tucker, design director.
Hi.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing great. Yeah, very excited.
Let's kick things off by talking about the Steel Rain update, which landed in July. What did Steel Rain bring to Fallout 76?
Yeah, I'm super excited about this. Steel Rain is a continuation of our Brotherhood of Steel Returns story arc that we started last year with Steel Dawn. So we're continuing that quest line. There's a lot of characters that were introduced in Steel Dawn that you'll continue to get to know and learn about. There's new characters you're going to meet and have interesting choices and dialogue with them. In addition to that, we've also got an expansion to our legendary item system, which is our legendary crafting feature. Not only do you get to craft new legendary items, we've added new legendary mods, as well as expanded it to legendary power armor. So a lot of fun stuff there, both on the story side and on the gameplay system side.
Of course, lots of great stuff in that Steel Rain update. Even earlier than that, we also released our Locked in Loadout update, which included some major additions to some of our big features in the game, like camps, special, even daily ops. Mark, what can you tell us about what Locked and Loaded brought to those features?
We had a huge expansion for our camp system, namely camp slots, that gives the players the ability to have more than one camp. A lot of our players love to build, I love to build, and so now you can keep building more camps and you can keep expanding with new slots. On top of that, special loadouts. It gives everybody an opportunity to create new custom loadouts, not only for how they allocate their special, but also the perks that they allocate for their builds. So it really is like a completely different opportunity for players to have vastly different character builds on their same character without having to roll a new one. So yeah, it's super exciting. With daily ops, we added a whole new game mode. We added new locations. We added new enemy types. It was a pretty big expansion for our daily ops system, and the game mode we added really plays quite a bit different from the first one. We focus a bit more on stealth gameplay and kind of divide and conquer versus trying to stick together and capture a specific location. So really different. We've gotten great feedback from our fans, and we're excited to continue building on it.
So Fallout 76 is a living game, and on top of all the content updates that we're doing, the team is constantly pushing out quality of life improvements as well. What are some of the biggest changes that you've made over the past year?
We've made quite a few, and we're really dedicated to continuing in that path. We added a new tab in the inventory so you can easily find the new items you've got. In addition to that, we expanded additional tabs in the inventory to call out a difference between food and aid items. We also broke out armor and apparel. So, that makes it a lot easier to find the things that are in your inventory and kind of differentiate them from all the other item types. In addition to that, to improve inventory management, we added weight values to better provide feedback when you have, lots of items in a single stack. How much does that weigh? On the paper map, we added a pop-up widget that shows a lot more information for player vendors. So now you can see when player vendors are selling different legendary item types, plans for different legendary items, and things like that. So it's a lot more comprehensive information there, so you can go to somebody else's camp and find what you're looking for.
Sounds like a lot of really great updates to the game. How have players been reacting to the improvements, and how does the team decide which improvements to focus on?
The quality of life stuff usually generates a lot of positive feedback from our players, and really that's why we do it. We do this for our players, and what drives the future lists that we focus on are feedback from our players. So we listen to what they're saying, where they might be hitting friction points in the game, or just where they see some problems, and we're keeping track of that. We have a very long list of future quality of life changes that we plan to make.
Speaking of those players and everyone at home, I'm sure you're all eager to get into the heart of this panel, and it's time to talk about what's next for Fallout 76 with Fallout Worlds. Bo, what is Fallout Worlds?
Well, people have been seeing it as a kind of feature that we're adding to the game that adds world settings and those kind of things. But really, Fallout Worlds is kind of like a belief and a initiative to try to add the legacy of user customization to 76, right? Bethesda has a long storied history of allowing users to customize games, make them their own, tell their own story. And that's something we want to do in 76 as well. But it's an online game, so it takes a little bit more to do that than some of the single-player games. So I kind of think of this as kind of the first step to allowing more user customization.
And so we're doing that by introducing two new modes, Custom Worlds and Public Worlds. What can you tell us about the difference between those and how will players interact with them?
Yeah, sure. So public worlds are kind of our thing for everyone. We really want everyone to be able to experience the ability to have some version of the story being their own. So with public worlds, we take the general framework that we've provided, right? The ability to split out the progression, to kind of protect your main character in the live, vibrant game, and let us do crazy stuff. So with a public world, we can take some of the customization that we've enabled and we can basically curate it into a type of world that everybody can experience, regardless of Fallout first. It's like adventure with different progression. And we'll rotate these. Right now we're going to do it every month, and we'll see kind of what the community and everyone really feels about that. We might do it faster, we might do it slower, but at the moment we're committed to try to keep one of those up at all times. Custom worlds, on the other hand, are for our Fallout First members and their friends. It's where you can take the full customization available, and you can decide how you want the story to be told, right? You can go in and change all the different settings, change combat, change how workshops work, your camp, all those kind of things, and really make an experience that you would like to play and that your friends and family can play with you.
Custom Worlds sound awesome, and we're going to get into them in just a second. But if we could step back to Public Worlds for a moment, what are some of the themes that you're really excited about that we're going to be bringing to the game in this update?
Yeah, so we have a lot of different public worlds set up, and we kind of plan to keep adding more and playing with them in the future, depending on what the community wants and what they kind of react to. So for the moment, one of my favorites is actually the Happy Builder one. It allows players in the game to kind of place their camps in more locations throughout the game. It also allows them to be able to place items with fewer constraints, right? So if you want to do my personal favorite, which is kind of build a Mario platformer in the game, you can kind of do that now, and you can do it off some of the more interesting areas in the game, right? You can build it on top of a mountain or on top of some of the existing buildings. That's one of my favorites.
Do you have two favorite custom world settings?
Yeah, even though my favorite world is actually the building one, my favorite custom settings more align with combat. I actually really like the kind of personal proximity spawner. Something we put into the game to kind of give you more pressure as you're playing. We spawn creatures around you as you're playing the game. That way you can kind of keep the pressure up. It's like your own personal random event kind of popping off as you're playing. The other one I like a lot is we have infinite ammo, which most people find when they're looking at the settings. But if you hit the clicker just one more over, you'll see infinite ammo with no reload. That's actually one of my favorites, especially because some of the guns, like the black powder rifle, you can just kind of fire as fast as you want. So with endless VATS and the infinite ammo, no reload, you can just kind of kill everything. It's great.
It's a deadly combination. What about you, Mark? Do you have two favorite custom world settings?
I like to focus a lot on building as well, and for me, the setting that allows me to build at a lot of the named locations in the world is a lot of fun, because now I can take these cool locations and make them my own. That, coupled with larger build radius and build height settings, allows me to really be truly creative with all of our camp assets and just going to go wild with modifying these locations.
We still have adventure mode and private worlds with this update, but Fallout Worlds is introducing custom worlds and public worlds. What happens when I take my character from, let's say, adventure mode and I want to head over into a custom world with my friends?
Whenever you play in a Fallout world, we tried to make it very seamless and easy to deal with. So as soon as you click play, regardless of how you join, we basically automatically fork your adventure character that you have selected and separate it out. So now you have like your own line of progression associated with that specific world, whether it's a public world, your friend's world, your own world. You can now tell your own story, make your own progress down that line. None of that comes back into the main games. You don't have to worry about if you damage your character, or you do something you regret, or if you're playing with more free settings that we have, it doesn't affect your main character. You can also at any point click a re-import button and basically remove the progress that you have and then re-import it from adventure, so you can just kind of pick back off. That way, if any time you go back to your main adventure character, you progress a bunch and you want to start back over and catch back up on your custom world or public world, you can.
I do have one other question: is how come we decided not to allow progress to go back into adventure mode? Are you able to expand on that at all?
I know a lot of people are really interested in allowing that to happen. Most of it, like I said, is this is a longer term initiative for allowing user customization to come into 76. So we want to start in a more conservative way to make sure that our game is safe for everybody, and that you kind of only encounter the content that you want to encounter and you don't kind of jeopardize what's going on. So we wanted to start from the safest place we could, which is it's separate. You can go and play, nothing comes back. And then in the future, we can look at trying to tone that down a little bit as we have time and, as people want those kinds of features.
How does Fallout Worlds work with Fallout First members and their friends?
Fallout Worlds works a lot like the adventure private mode that we've had the entire time. You can play on a custom Fallout world. It's the same thing. You can set it to be team only or friends only. And you can have up to 3 slots of those. And at any moment, you can spin them up. You can play on them. Your friends can join you through the social menu. If you have friends that also have Fallout First, once they have a world link, they have a character basically on one of your worlds, they can go through the play menu and they can spin it up whenever they want. They'll basically have their own version of it. They can play on it. Their friends can join them. More of your friends can join them. That way you don't have to be around all the time. But it does take Fallout First to enable that. If you don't have Fallout First, as long as somebody you know has Fallout First and a character on the world, you can play with them through the social menu.
Being able to spin up one of your friends' custom worlds without them even being online is one of the coolest parts about this. Looking ahead, after Fallout Worlds comes out, how are we planning to continue supporting it post-launch?
Ideally, we would like to both improve the private world flows a bit and the custom private world flows a bit, as well as adding more settings in the future. And we do keep a very big eye on our Discord and Reddit and all the things that our community team has of the type of features that our players are looking for. We have a very big backlog of settings already, even internally, of the stuff we'd like to do that we just couldn't get to.
How specifically can the community have input on the way that Fallout 76 improves and evolves going forward?
The short answer is talk to Nate. He gives me all of the suggestions for everybody. No. Like I said, any of our community areas that you can get access to, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, our Discord for 76 and BGS, as well as Reddit, we kind of look at everything, every avenue we can find for players, and we really do read them and pay attention to them. Everyone's input is appreciated, and then we try to find the right things for the game as a whole.
I would also add to that for the players that are willing to download and hop into our public test server on PC. It's great for you guys to hop in and play around with some of the stuff that we have in the works and provide feedback on that, because we have definitely made changes based on player feedback on our PTS Reddit thread and through from our Discord feedback as well, just based off folks hopping in, playing stuff on PTS and giving us that feedback before it goes live.
That's great to hear. Do you have any fun or interesting stories from the World's development?
Well, we've been working on Worlds actually for quite a long time. So we have lots of things we have tried that may or may not actually work out. Obviously, as devs, right, we kind of want the same stuff that our players want. So we want things that are cool, we want things that are interesting, and not all of them work out very well. So we tried to scale up the creature size at one point, and I have screenshots and videos of it. It was a lot of fun. It also broke everything having to do with the game, so we weren't able to actually ship that one at all. But it was a lot of fun. Hopefully, in some time we can try that one again.
See a giant Deathclaw marching through the screen. How about you, Mark? Do you have any favorite stories from Worlds development?
I'm with Bo. The scaling one was quite memorable, both in terms of scaling things up, but also scaling things way down. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, as Bo pointed out, that one was rife with problems. So that one will stay on the dev side for now. But it's been, it's been a long process. There's been a lot of work. I'm really proud of the team and what they've accomplished, and I'm looking forward to getting this out there in players' hands and getting their feedback and seeing where we take it.
Well, speaking of feedback, Mark, you mentioned this earlier, but Fallout Worlds is available right now on our public test server. If you own a BethesdaNet copy of the game on PC, you can hop in there, try out public worlds. Fallout First members can join custom worlds, and hey, if you've made friends with someone who's got Fallout First, you can try out their custom worlds as well. So we would love to see you in the PTS with us and sharing your feedback in Discord, on Reddit, everywhere you can.
And if you're not in the PTS, don't worry, you'll be able to get your hands on Fallout Worlds very soon with its release on September 8th. And it'll be on all platforms as well.
So aside from Fallout Worlds itself, this update's actually going to include some improvements for other features in the game as well, like a new season, a daily ops expansion. Mark, can you tell us anything about that?
We have our 6th season coming out. It is the Unstoppables versus the Diabolicals, which is this whole new group of supervillains. It also features all of the Unstoppables, so super exciting. It's got a lot of great rewards. One of my personal favorites is a new power armor suit based off of one of the Diabolicals enemies, Samurai. So you can imagine what this power armor suit might look like. It's super cool. On top of that, Daily Ops, we're expanding that. We're adding a new enemy encounter group type. We've added 3 new locations to the rotation. We've got Wotoga High School, we've got Arctos Pharma Biome Labs, and Uncanny Caverns. On top of that, we're doing a new kind of weekend event with Daily Ops that's going to feature a more challenging version where we're stacking mutations, so it's double mutations. But with that comes double the reward. So we've got some really fun combinations of mutations. One of my favorites is a combination of the swift-footed mutation with the active camo mutation. So you're wandering around and all of a sudden these enemies just appear out of nowhere right next to you because they're moving so quickly and you can't see them. It really does add some fun challenge to the mode.
Well, that sounds terrifying. And I know some folks in the PTS are already trying those out and having a blast with it.
There's some new and returning events for players to take part in, from Spooky Scorch to Treasure Hunter. We have Trick or Treating coming. Do you guys have a favorite event?
Well, I am super excited about the Spooky Scorched Trick or Treating event. Obviously, the Spooky Scorched are going to be wearing a lot of fun costumes. A lot of them you've seen before, but there might be some new ones. On top of that, though, it's not just going around and killing a bunch of Scorched in costumes. It's more about collecting a certain type of candy, and we're going to allow players to go to other player camps and effectively trick or treat from a special object in the camp. So I'm excited about this. We're going to really incentivize players to want to dress up in their own costumes as well. So it's a really different kind of event than we've done before because we're trying to incorporate player camps into the event, and hopefully players will decorate their camps and give them a spooky theme along with it.
Trick-or-treating sounds so hype. I'm excited for that. Beyond that, are you able to tell us anything else about what's coming to Fallout 76 this year?
Speaking of events, we have more events in the works. We're looking at additional seasonal events later in the year. Super excited about that. One might feature something about the Mothman cultists. The other one might feature something about aliens. I'll leave it at that. And on top of that, we are going to continue to expand on our legendary item system. So we're going to introduce 4-star legendaries into the game, and we're going to give you a lot more agency in terms of how you're crafting, what you're crafting. We got a lot of feedback from the initial crafting system we just put out, so we've taken that feedback and we're applying it to the 4-star legendary system. So very excited about that. And of course, there will be a new season after that with a lot of cool rewards. And we are also focused on adding a lot of new quality of life additions to address some of the feedback we're getting from our players.
That all sounds super exciting, and I can't wait to experience that. Thank you guys for taking time to talk with us today, giving us a little bit of insight on Fallout Worlds and what's coming next for Fallout 76. Do you have any parting words for the QuakeCon audience?
We're all really excited to get Fallout Worlds in front of people. We really hope it's a way that everyone can kind of find something fun for them to do at the end of the day, play the game in new ways, revisit content that they've played before, but they want to try something new, whether it's building in weird locations, replaying the game in a harder or easier mode. Hopefully everyone can find something that kind of excites them.
I appreciate everybody's time today. Really love our community and everybody who plays our game and provides feedback into what we're doing. We can't do this without you, so thank you. And as Bo mentioned, we've got a great release with Worlds, and we've got a lot more content and features and changes coming. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy it, and let us know what you think.
And of course, we'd like to thank each and every one of you at home for joining us today during the Fallout 76 panel. As a final reminder before we go, Fallout Worlds will be available in the live game on September 8th. And if you'd like to test it right now, you can join us in the public test server. Until next time, we'll see you in Appalachia.